If your concepts cannot be seen in the real world, they must change, and not the world. Hey guys, Kyle here, and we are back with the vocal analysis. For today, we are analyzing one by Metallica, a live version of it. And yeah, subscribe to the channel, click the bell button to always receive the notifications. Reach out to me if you want to improve your vocal technique and have private lessons. And the names that we are using for this analysis come from vocal anthropophysiology. I have more videos here about vocal anthropophysiology, so check that out. And let's go. It is quite a long intro. Pretty cool, but long.
I can't remember anything.
I can remember anything. So these notes are not high. He's singing in a lower part of the range in which the TAs are preponderant over CTs. And his vocal folds are in active tension. They are not relaxed. He's not singing like, I can't remember anything. No, his vocal folds are more engaged. So we have this sound. Da, 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 da. For the slower part of the range in which TAs are preponderant, but with the vocal folds in active tension, we call this the crooner voice. Can't remember anything. Another thing that he will repeat sometimes during the song, I believe most of it, his soft palate is a bit lowered. He's not raising the palate and singing like this. Can't remember it. He's lowering the palate a bit. That increases nasality, and with that we have a compound vocal scheme. So we call this a Crooner Horn voice. So every time we are doing a compound technique, which involves the movement of the vocal tract, this case, lowering the palate, we have a horn voice, a compound scheme.
Can't tell if this is true or dream.
Yeah, understand a true love dream. Same thing, soft palate. Lower it a bit, he's not doing da-da-da, and still in the vocal range of crooner voice.
Deep down inside I feel the scream. This terrible silence stops me.
Oh, now we have a distortion. This terrible silence stops me. So this kind of distortion, and well, the first thing that I want you guys to pay attention to is that now he's raising the palate, he's aiming for this schwa sound, and this is a requirement of this kind of distortion that he's using right now. This is a glottic distortion called Snarl Voice. And in order to do that, in order to achieve this kind of distortion, we have to lower a bit the base of the larynx, and we do that by aiming for this vowel sound, this sound. So he's not singing he's doing so soft palate, aiming for this rather than Let's keep going.
Now that the world is through with me, I'm waking up, I cannot see.
Sometimes he uses another distortion, the creaky voice, at the beginning of some phrases when he starts in a more relaxed way, but still aiming for that crooner sound, that more engaged vocal fold sound. Every time we use the creaky voice, we have to keep a really quiet sound, and since he's not singing predominantly with passive vocal schemes, he's using more active techniques such as a crooner. We don't have the creaky happening for much time. He uses that only starting some phrases, but as soon as he increases the volume, he loses this kind of technique.
To me, nothing is real but pain now.
This is interesting. It seems like he's using another technique here.
To me, nothing is real but pain
now. So I said that the raised palate is a requirement to achieve the snore voice. For this distortion here, he was switching between the snarl voice and another thing. So as soon as he lowered the palate, He engaged more the corniculate cartilages, which are supraglottic structures. So now we have a mixed distortion rather than only a glottic distortion. So we are still having that snore sound, but as soon as he adds the corniculate cartilages, we have the snore rubbing voice. Cool.
Nothing is real but pain now. My breath is I wish for death.
He's using the snore and the crooner. And well, for the crooner, the soft palate a bit lower, the same thing.
Please God, wait.
Still crooner, but now he's raising the palate. So this is the kind of behavior that he was doing with the vocal tract for the snore voice, but now he's doing the same thing with a clean sound with the crooner. So now we have the simple crooner voice rather than the Crooner Horn voice with the palate lowered. That's pretty cool. And this kind of behavior adds such a contrast to the sound. We were used to hear and now we have in the same part of the range. So that's interesting.
It's much too real.
It's much too real. That crooner voice with the soft palate a bit lowered here. Another thing that I want you guys to pay attention is the distance from the microphone. He's singing really close to it, and that's important. Especially if we consider that he's a crossover singer and he's switching between different techniques. So both having a good in-ear monitoring system and singing close to the microphone, all this can help a lot. So you don't overload your larynx when you do these techniques, and it helps you to achieve these sounds. Probably if he wasn't hearing himself well, some of these techniques would be really hard to achieve.
But can't look forward to
Daddy turls, soft palate more raised, and it lowers again. Nice contrast.
Look to the time when I live.
Didn't let it down live. Again, this glottic distortion with the soft palate lower increases the chance to engage supraglottic structures, and we have a mixed distortion, for this case snore rubbing again.
To the truth that sticks in me.
Oh, nice.
I must feel, but can't look forward to reveal. Look to the time when I live. Fed to the truth that sticks in me.
Fell through the tube that sticks in me. Now we have another distortion. Sticks in me. This is the snore phaser voice. It's a glottic distortion. We don't have that participation of the corniculate cartilages for this one, but we do have more reason, more sibilance, a more breathier sound. So yeah, he's adding this sibilance by reducing the level of contraction of the lateral cricoid muscles and also decreasing a bit the level of activation of the vocal folds, the vocalis muscles themselves. Really nice.
Tied to machines that
snore and return to Crooner. Nice.
cut this shit off from me.
Snarl Voice again, soft palate raise. Nice.
My breath is I wish dear.
Wait to death, wait to death. Snarl phaser.
Please God,
Now I believe we have another technique. And we don't. This is that same crooner voice. Crooner voice, soft palate. I mean that schwa sound makes it a simple crooner voice. Or just crooner voice.
please God, wait.
Yeah, now we have another technique. This is a G sharp. Still aiming that sound. And this one we call warm voice. Warm voice vocal folds are still active, so we have this stronger feel to the voice because the vocalis muscle itself is still engaged, but we are in a range in which CTs are preponderant over TAs, and that's what he's using here. Especially for this kind of techniques, also the distortions, of course, singing close to the microphone, having a good monitoring system, hearing yourself well is really important. You don't want to go overboard and sing really loudly doing that because it may interfere with the rest of your performance. Yeah guys, every time we are doing this more complex, more physiologically complex adjustments, like the warm voice, like the glottic and mixed distortions that he's using here, we may guarantee that we are hearing ourselves well, or that we at least know really well how to achieve, how to build these sounds so we don't have to hear ourselves well, but still don't go overboard doing that. Because if we use more volume than needed for these techniques, we may cause injuries to the larynx, and that might compromise the rest of our performance.
The world is gone, I'm just one.
Yeah, for this part, basically switching between the snore voice, yeah, the snore rubbing, yeah, the crooner horn, we still have that snore phaser feel here sometimes. Sometimes we do hear more this breathier sound, this wheezing, these sibilants. So yeah, for this part he's switching between all the distortions that we saw earlier and also the clean schemes too. It's not the warm voice, he's still singing in the crooner range. Snore phaser again. Yeah! Nice. These guys are amazing.
Darkness imprisoning me. All I see, I
Snore phaser, now he's changing the position of the soft palate, doing this monstrous sound. And part of the acoustic characteristics of this sound is precisely the presence of wheezing, the presence of sibilance, rather than only that crackling. Yeah, yeah. Now he's adding this. That's pretty cool. And the clean schemes too. Snore phaser, crooner, nice. Yeah, it was the warm voice. No. The last note was a crooner. Yeah. So one way of thinking about these schemes is thinking that warm voice we do when we want to call somebody's attention about something. Hey! And crooner is basically the kind of physiological adjustment that we use to talk, for this incisive talk, like we are teaching something, we are giving a lecture, so we are not talking like this. This would be another thing. Crooner voice, we are engaging more the folds, we are activating the vocal folds.
No. Please God, no! Please God!
Snarl phaser, no! Nice. Seems to me that he's still using a glottic distortion, but now since he is singing above the high C, the C4 for the 5 octaves keyboard, the C5 for the piano, we call that the snore scream phaser. And every time we reach this high C and we sing above it, the physiology inside our larynx changes. And since the behavior of the muscles change in vocal introphysiology, we change the name too. So it won't be the snore phaser anymore, now it is a scream snore phaser. Another technique, quite similar, we can still hear that presence of crackling, that presence of sibilance, but the physiological adjustment behind it has changed. Warm voice. Okay, these guys are not funny. Okay guys, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed the analysis and I hope you could achieve some of those sounds too. If you want to take your vocal technique to another level, contact me for online private lessons. Subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you receive all notifications. Follow me on social media and let me know which other singers, artists, bands you want me to analyze next. Okay? See ya. Oh, wait. And remember, if your concepts cannot be seen here, in the real world, they must change, and not the world.